So my name is Vincent Ngundi. I work for the Communications Authority, part of the cybersecurity team, and I'm happy to be here to just talk about issues of AI and the intersection between artificial intelligence and cybercrime. I'll talk about a few things. One, what are some of the challenges, or what are some of the cyber criminal activity that is perpetrated using artificial intelligence? How are AI agents used in cybersecurity? The role of public-private partnerships. When I was asked to make this presentation, I felt that more often than not, we leave out the people element, and yet the growth and development of AI will be driven by the same people we are trying to, by the same people. How can we enhance AI capabilities through collaboration? Again, how can we enhance AI capabilities through collaboration? Again, I'm looking at it from a people-centric approach. And what are some of the new things that we should be thinking about as we work towards the future? So what are some of the cyber criminal activity? What are we seeing that's being perpetrated or through artificial intelligence? One is identity theft, obviously. We have seen AI being used to steal people's identities, and we've seen very many cases in this regard. We have seen phishing attacks being propagated through AI driven tools. We've seen ransomware attacks becoming even more severe because of the capabilities of AI. And of course, there's cyberbullying. And what comes to mind here is malinformation, those fake videos, photos, audio files. I think we've been seeing a worrying trend. And while we always have in mind the young audiences when we talk about cyberbullying, I think also adults are falling prey into cyberbullying activities. More so with it being propagated through artificial intelligence. So the impact is broad. It affects both individuals but also organizations. So from an individual perspective, we see obviously financial loss, but there's also emotional distress. We've heard of cases where people have committed suicide because of things like cyberbullying, loss of their finances, and so on and so forth. But for organizations, it's similar. There's also the risk of losing funds, but there's also issues to do with reputational damages. We all know the story of BlackBerry, some of the issues that affected BlackBerry, including, the company winding up. There's financial loss, as I said, due to data breaches, and more so when it comes to ransomware attacks, but also in rebuilding an organization's systems once an attack happens. And there's obviously the key concern, especially for businesses, on the loss of customer trust and therefore, revenue. So what are the current challenges when it comes to combating cybercrime? Obviously, there is the rapid evolution of threats, as we all know, and therefore the criminals think and develop strategies faster than the defenders. And so we have to keep evolving rapidly to make sure that we are ready when those threats happen. And AI plays a significant role here in making sure that we expedite and enhance the effectiveness of our response measures. There is anonymity of perpetrators. The internet allows people to be anonymous, which makes it difficult to know who is behind something, difficult to attribute, and therefore it makes it complicated for security teams and law enforcement to respond to some of this cyber criminal activity. Then there's the global nature of the internet. The internet runs across jurisdictions. So even from a legal point of view, when cybercrime happens, then at times you find yourself dealing with multiple jurisdictions, which is not an easy thing to deal with. How do we use AI agents in cybersecurity? So, of course, one of the strengths of artificial intelligence is the ability to predict, to forecast. Obviously, this depends on how much data and the quality of data that has been fed into AI models, but the ability to predict um, helps in terms of enabling organizations and systems to forecast and know the attacks before they even occur. There's obviously proactive threat prevention from the predictive analytics, big data analysis. Then systems are able to detect in advance threats before they occur and respond efficiently based on the past experience. Then, of course, there's the rapid response to threat prevention. You can't compare how fast a machine works as compared to a normal human being. We've seen AI played in many ways. One is in threat identification, as I said, through big data analytics. Of course, there is automation and efficiency in response, where AI models and tools respond faster to threats than human beings could do. And of course, as I said, reducing response time. Some of these threats are automatically responded to, which allows security teams to focus on other more complex issues that cannot be automated. What's the role of PPPs? How can the public and the private work together to enhance cybersecurity? One of the benefits of collaborating, and I speak from a government point of view, is pooling resources. One entity can never have all the resources that they need, and therefore we need to work together from a public-private point of view to ensure that the limited resources, because we also have limitations in the number of resources we have, as you know, when it comes to cybersecurity professionals, but also technology. We need to pool resources so that we can be more efficient in what we do. We need to share knowledge, and therefore creating platforms of trust becomes significant, because you need to have a trust environment to enable the sharing of knowledge, but also of data. And of course, the need for comprehensive cybersecurity, and therefore a collaborative approach fosters comprehensive cybersecurity solutions that protect all stakeholders effectively. So the element of pooling resources, sharing knowledge, but also developing a framework that caters for everybody's needs. Some of the examples of public-private partnerships that you've seen, obviously one is computer incident response teams, and more specifically information sharing and analysis centers. So these create trusted platforms based on best practice standards that allow for the exchange of information. Of course, we have cross-sector collaboration between governments, the private sector, and civil society. And you'll ask why civil society, but and the fourth estate, the media, is because they help in reaching out to end users, consumers, through creating awareness and ensuring that we have a level of awareness amongst our populace. And of course, there's the element of enhanced threat intelligence, which is a framework that allows the exchange of information from a trusted point of view. But there are challenges, of course, and opportunities. One of the challenges in collaboration is obviously different people have different priorities. So everybody is looking out for themselves. And at times, those priorities conflict. So finding ways of deconflicting divergent views becomes one of the critical issues. Stakeholder management. Of course, despite those challenges, there is an element of innovation, because when you bring many minds together, then the resultant products are always better than what individuals think. And of course, working together ensures that all efforts are converged, there's synergy, and therefore ultimately improved security. So how can we enhance AI through collaboration? One of the things is sharing data and resources. I think one of the key things we need to focus on the discussion of AI is the issue of data, because AI is highly dependent on the quality and the volume of data that you feed into AI models. And therefore, even as we think about, and of course, data that is relevant to the context. And therefore, even as we think about how AI can be used to enhance cybersecurity, then we need to ask ourselves, what kind of data are we using to train these AI models? Is it data that is relevant to our context? Is it data that is in the right format, for example? And if that happens, then obviously we're bound to see an improvement in efficiency. Obviously, that collaborative approach will help in developing robust cybersecurity frameworks, because those frameworks will be informed by divergent parties, and therefore making it a better framework for the country. And of course, there is an element of data resource sharing. We're also looking at developing joint cybersecurity strategies. I think even as we look at developing strategies, we don't want to be in a silo environment. We want to involve all players to ensure that the resultant strategies are well informed and they cater for diverse sectors and stakeholders. Training and awareness is key. As I said at the beginning, while we talk about AI as a technology, we really need to focus on the people element. And we need to have well-equipped people who are well-trained, not just the technology people, but also end users who are aware of the opportunities and challenges in AI. So we must look at AI from a people perspective, even as we think more of the technology element that is more pronounced when it comes to discussions around AI. What are some of the future directions? I think we need to spend more time now also looking at new and emerging technologies. So blockchain technology is something we need to look at. Quantum computing, because of what's bound to happen when you have those powerful machines, and especially the impact of quantum computing on cryptography. I think it's something that we need to focus on. And then how do we invest in advancing or developing advanced AI models that are important to our context? I think that's one of the things we need to look at. Of course, from a policy perspective, we need to have clear policies, but most importantly, that are informed by the public, but also the private sectors. So that collaboration becomes key. We need to find mechanisms of building trust, because trust is the foundation of cybersecurity. So one of the things that you can use to enhance trust is collaboration. So for example, if government issues draft policy interventions, they could either be policy documents or legislative instruments. It's important that when you go for public participation, the private sector and other stakeholders feel that their input has been well received through incorporating such input into the final document. So building trust becomes a very important tool, and it enhances collaboration. It enhances trust through effective collaboration. And of course, we need to find ways of encouraging information sharing. I know we are all in the era of data privacy and protection, and yet we cannot do much from an AI perspective if we don't have the data that's required to train these AI models. So we need to find mechanisms and strategies of encouraging information sharing. We need to build a resilient cyber defense ecosystem. Of course, we need to continuously improve. As we said, attacks are changing all the time, and we need to have a mentality and a culture of continuous improvement to make sure that we stay ahead of the game. We need to be adaptable in terms of our responses, so that we don't have static strategies, but more of dynamic strategies that change depending on circumstance. And finally, and I can't speak enough about this, is unified sectoral approach. How do we synergize or take advantage of the strengths of various players, whether it's the private sector, the public sector, civil society, and the media, to ensure that we build an ecosystem that is better than any individual intervention. So integrating AI, in conclusion, into cybersecurity can enhance threat detection and also enhance our response capabilities as stakeholders. But that's also driven by strong collaborations. And when you combine the both, we can create a safer environment, for both individuals but also for organizations. Thank you.